I recognize the member from Mississauga, Erin Mills.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, I stand in the House to debate Bill 162, the Get It Done Act. And I'm really very happy to speak about this bill because this act is a fulfillment of the promises we made in 2018 and 2022. We promised that we would keep costs down and build infrastructure at the same time. Our government has always been for the people of Ontario, and today, once more, we are getting it done for the people of Ontario. Madam Speaker, I want to start by thanking the Minister of Transportation for his hard work, both for introducing this bill and for being part of the largest infrastructure expansion in Ontario's history. From highways to transit projects, this government, under the leadership of the Premier, is getting it done, building the transportation infrastructure that Ontario needs for its long-term success. All the while, this government has continued to keep costs down for Ontarians, never raising a single tax. When we talk about transportation infrastructure, it is very simple. People and goods need to be able to get around this province at an affordable cost. Time is money. If people are sitting in the gridlock for endless hours or paying costly taxes, then we as a government have failed. The government's role must be to get it done and get out of the way. This is the analogy we have been using. And that's why I support this bill and why these changes to transportation infrastructure and affordability are well needed. Madam Speaker, a major announcement for the people of Mississauga was announced earlier this month by Minister of Transportation. 2 ways, all-day GO train service is coming to Milton Line. Whereas service is currently only available during peak hours, the government plans to allow more services with extended hours of operation. For residents in Erin Mills, this means that Erindale, Strittsville, Meadowvale, and Lisgar GO stations will have all-day transit connections into and out of the city. The Milton GO Rail Corridor is already the fourth busiest line on the GO network. It is used daily by many Erin Mills residents. These investments are critically needed, and it's great to see the government continuing to invest in important infrastructure as such. Since 1999, when I started commuting by train into Toronto, there have been minimal changes to improve the Milton line. I think we added one extra train in the morning and one extra train back in the evening. So that's 25 years ago. Mississauga now significantly larger than 25 years ago, maybe 10 times the population 25 years ago. But no investment have been made in that past 25 years in this line. This is why we are calling on the federal government to agree to a cost-sharing partnership for this important rail corridor, which is going to benefit Mississauga and Milton as well. The former Federal Minister of Transportation has endorsed this project. I am hopeful that the federal government will now invest in this critical infrastructure to support the people of Mississauga and Milton, and support the growth of Mississauga as the 7th largest city in Canada. North America's largest transit infrastructure expansion is happening right here in Ontario, and that includes long overdue investments into Mississauga. We are getting it done. Once again, I thank the Minister of Infrastructure and the Premier for this important investment. Madam Speaker, this investment demonstrates the government commitment to building infrastructure. With the rapid growing population, Ontario needs transit, highways, and housing to accommodate everyone. What we build now will be relied upon by the future generations to come. That's why this proposed Get It Done Act is focused on quickly and efficiently building infrastructure. If passed, this bill would reduce the project planning timelines for construction of important infrastructure projects. It would expedite and streamline regulations that are slowing down public projects. This will allow projects like roads, sewage treatment systems to be built quickly and efficiently, while still maintaining rigorous protections where necessary. By accelerating these projects, municipality governments and public agencies will be able to complete their task on time and within budget. One way that this bill will, if passed, help accelerating timelines is by clarifying the procedures surrounding expropriation during the environmental assessment process. It's already allowed under the Environment Assessment Act to acquire properties before the EA process is completed. But by providing greater clarity, municipalities and other proponents can create clearer plans and get shoveled to the ground much sooner. These are simple, common sense steps that this government is proposing to get developments built. It's not flashy, but it is to get the job done. In Mississauga, we continue to make major investments into infrastructure in partnership with our municipal counterparts. For example, the new Mississauga Hospital will give a much-needed replacement to the healthcare infrastructure in Mississauga, allowing more capacity for this growing city. The biggest hospital in the Canadian history, the biggest ER room in Canada, will be in Mississauga. 900 plus rooms. This is a huge investment. And as we said, time is money. If we can accelerate the process, getting things done, this is what we are trying to do if this bill passed. South Common Mall Community Centre in my riding will also be receiving renovation very soon, allowing it to continue to be a hub for activities for our local neighbourhoods. This is all part of our government infrastructure revolution to continue building Ontario. Let me give you another example, the Highway 413. The 413 will be built through Peel and Vaughan to bypass the busy Highway 401 in Toronto. It will save commuting time and it will get goods and people flowing. More and more people continue to come to the Greater Horseshoe area to live and work. The infrastructure is needed to accommodate them and handle this increased demand. When it comes to building infrastructure, the Liberals have made their stand clear. They are opposed to building new highways and infrastructure. When the Liberal leader was a mayor of Mississauga, she voted against building the 413. She said the highway would be a disaster to us. But, Speaker, Ontarians know the truth. The real disaster for Ontario would be Bonnie Crombie and the Ontario Liberals. They are not willing to build highways or transit or housing or any infrastructure. Our government, led by this Premier, are the only ones prepared to get it done. Speaker, infrastructure is only half the picture. If people cannot afford to use the infrastructure, then we cannot see the full benefits. That's why we must continue to make life affordable for all Ontarians, and I am pleased to see government taking initiative to do that. The One Fare program, which came into effect earlier this week, is saving commuters money when they transfer between transit agencies. Residents from Mississauga can transfer between MyWay, Go Transit, TTC, and many other GTA transit organizations while only paying one fare for the trip. This adds both affordability and convenience, allowing more options for connections at cheaper cost. And this program is expected to save transit riders an average of $1,600 per year. Every single commuter will save $1,600 per year. This is not pocket change. That is substantial saving being put right back into the wallet of hard-working Ontarians. Likewise, the government has already been working hard on saving money for drivers and vehicle owners. In spring of 2022, the government removed license plate renewal fees and stickers. For many vehicle owners, this was saved them over $100 per year, per person, per car. Now, in this bill, the government proposed not only extending that cost savings, but also making the entire renewal process automatic, providing both convenience and affordability. We might also discuss driver's license fees and photo card fees. In 2019, the government implemented a freeze on renewal fees of driver licenses and photo cards. As a result, in this year since then, over $22 million have been saved for Ontarians. This legislation proposed permanently freezing those fees because our government believes in keeping costs down for the people. Our government has not increased a tax on the back of Ontarians, and they are not increasing those fees. Our government is working hard to make sure that every Ontarian is able to get cheaper and convenient transportation all throughout the province. Which brings me to the pivotal piece of today's proposed bill, the Protection Against Carbon Tax Act. If passed, this legislation would enshrine in the laws of Ontario that provincial government will not impose a carbon tax without the consent of the people. It would be a fair referendum organized by the Chief Electoral Officer with the standard rules and procedures and require 50% majority of the vote to pass. This is not unusual. Taxpayer Protection Act of 1999 provided for similar referendum mechanisms. This would ensure we have a fair and democratic process for establishing a new tax, if any future government wishes to impose one. We have seen the damage that federal carbon tax have imposed on our nation. The carbon tax has caused the prices of everything in Ontario to go up, because every item we buy, whether food, clothes, materials for industry, has a transportation cost. These costs were affected and increased by the carbon tax. Every household in Ontario has had their costs increased because of the carbon tax, such as a higher cost of heating. So despite the efforts of our government, provincial government working hard to make life easier, the federal government is forcing harder choices on the people of Ontario, whether they heat their homes or feed their families. Speaker, I noticed on my heating bill a $64 item as carbon tax. $64 of carbon tax monthly. So when the federal government say it's not significant, I say no. The carbon tax has caused the day-to-day cost of household to go significantly higher. Speaker, we have seen the problems of the carbon tax, and we don't want to see it again. So this bill proposes a simple and a reasonable solution. Before any government force a carbon tax, they must first get the consent of the people in a fair referendum. This is not a hypothetical situation. We can trust that this Ontario PC government would not impose a carbon tax, but the same cannot be said about all future administrations. In fact, the Liberals have already done this before. Premier Wynne told everyone that she wasn't planning on implementing a carbon pricing system, but just a short while later, the Liberal government implemented a disastrous cap-and-trade carbon tax. In the subsequent election, Ontarians elected our government to repeal that carbon tax. We did that. We got it done. But we have learned our lessons from the provincial and federal carbon taxes. Carbon tax do not work. They hurt people, and Ontarians do not want another carbon tax. That's why by passing this bill, we would be giving power back to the people to decide for themselves. If they want a provincial carbon tax, the people of Ontario deserve a say in this. Therefore, Speaker, our government is building infrastructure quickly, all the while making life more affordable for Ontarians. Just to name a few, we are building the Highway 413, the Hazel-McKillian line, the two-way, all-way go on the Milton line. The Get It Done Act would make it easier to get this infrastructure built, including municipal projects and provincial priorities. And the affordability measure are making life easier for everyone. This includes the One Fair Transit program, the elimination of license plate stickers, freezing the driver license and photo card renewal fees, and ensuring no new carbon tax can be imposed without the will of the people. The Ontario government, led by our amazing Premier, is laser-focused on making life affordable for everyone. Whether they call it carbon tax, toll, or a fee, at the end of the day, there's only one taxpayer. The Liberals and NDP are willing to raise taxes and fees for Ontarians. We are not. The Liberals and NDP will cost Ontarians. We will not. Our government is here for the people of Ontario because Ontarians trust us, and we will not let them down. Mr. Speaker, we will get it done. Thank you.